Hello, my fellow Aries. I saved our sign for last because I didn't know and I didn't want to be reading for myself because there's a lot of us Aries out there. Anyway, I already shuffled, so I was just going to shuffle one more time before I split them. And then tell you guys what I see. I want everybody to know these are tarot cards, sure, but I generally, when I do my readings, don't use tarot cards. And so what I'm doing is, it just makes the video boring if I have no imagery for people to look at if I'm talking. So I'm just doing the cards to give you something to look at. And I do use the imagery on the cards, but I generally will not use the traditional meanings of cards as I use them. So just understand that I'm just really using them as a prop so that you have something to look at when I talk to you. It's interesting because this is the Judgment card, Aries, but I saw this as power. Like, it's funny. I felt like because the person in the sky being like kind of the one in power, I felt like this is about Aries taking their power. And it's interesting because I keep picking up different signs, all have different things coming online for themselves. And it's funny when I said, well, what would Aries be? I got a shield, which I thought was very fascinating. Because generally Aries is considered like the warrior, but I felt like maybe we were the ones creating a shield for everyone, protection for everyone. I guess in a way that's kind of what a warrior is. Yeah, see? The King of Wands, it's just a fire sign. That's funny. And he looks like a warrior. He's got his staff, which is a fighting weapon. And he's wearing his orange, which is in his brown. Like, he's got the lions, which are, can be an aggressive creature. Yeah, look, strength again. All these lions. Lions to me are power. Sorry, I want to make sure this is recording. The lions are power, and they represent power and status. And so I feel like that this is us taking a stand. There could be something with Aries leading a movement, but there's also something with Aries people providing shields or teaching people how to better protect themselves spiritually and protect themselves from all the things going on in the world. Like, there's something with Aries and showing people how to protect themselves and be strong and not allow themselves to be swayed and pushed with things. Because Aries tend to be very hard-headed, very stubborn-minded, and they're not very easily swayed people. And this is about, that is what we're bringing, that and shielding to teach others how to own the ability to go, yeah, I'm not doing that, and I don't receive that message, and I don't take that on. There's something with that with Aries. Yeah. Also, I feel like some of you are going to need to start walking. There's some kind of balance. Maybe you've gotten sedentary, and Aries are not really a good sign for not having some kind of physical activity. It tends to be very hard on an Aries to be sedentary and not do physical things and be physically active. And this is a reminder to all the Aries out there to get an exercise of some kind going on, even if it's just walks around your neighborhood, because it helps calm the restless spirit, which with a lot of Aries, when you got too much energy, you tend to get self-destructive or gripey and be hard to be around if you don't have an outlet for all that fire you got going on. Yeah, see? It's funny, this says the devil, but what I saw this as is Pan. I saw this as a nature spirit, as Pan, I forget, isn't he's just a nature deity, but he represents that. And I felt like this felt more like Aries having an ability coming online for us, besides just shielding, is an ability to tap into like nature and fairies and maybe being outside, wanting to be around nature, because there's healing to be gained with being outside, around the elements, outside in the sun. There's just things coming in, and there's nature spirits available, and there's just things to be gained by going outside and being outside around nature. I know that devil's like choices and all that, but that's not what I saw with him. I saw more of getting back to things that are natural, getting back to the energy. And fairies are part of the energy, and they're part of what runs this planet. And getting back in touch with the basics by going outside and being active, Aries. Yeah, see? Doing that will bring contentment and peace, which, you know, Aries don't tend to have that. They tend to be a restless spirit, and being outside and walking and getting some kind of physical activity going on will settle people and make them feel less restless and less, it's almost like there's a disconnect going on with some people. So him to me means grounding, like going out, being outside, putting your feet on the ground, running your roots into the earth. There's a grounding needed for a lot of Aries signs, because there's a lot going on in the sign of Aries astrologically right now, so that we're not blasted off into outer space mentally. We're needing to get back connected to the earth, and walking and being outside and putting our feet on the ground as much as possible will help with this. Yeah. Aries tend to be avoidance. They don't like to deal with their, you know, they get busy and they run from their stuff. And this is saying it's you're carrying it around. It's not going to go anywhere. All these voices in your head and all these thoughts you haven't addressed and all these things you haven't looked at are needing to be addressed and needing to be contemplated. So that goes with, it's interesting being outside and being still or walking, giving you time to release some of the unspent energy. Also time to really contemplate things in your life and see what's really going on. Because it's almost like once you tap into the nature spirit, the nature energy, then that shielding thing will come online. It's kind of like, almost like once we take on the shielding part, other people, it's like us doing it will open it up to other people to do it and make that something a lot of people can do, so they can protect themselves from all this crazy volatile energy and all this magic and energy being used on us nowadays. It's like learning how to not allow that in is part of what this is about. Being outside, owning that you are a shield, that you have a shield, that you don't have to be influenced, which Aries are not very controllable people anyway. So it has to do with us teaching other people to not be so easily influenced and to question everything and say, no, I don't accept that, and you're not going to do that to me. And it's like, you see how he's got that shield in front of him, almost like he's blocking his energy center so he can't get his energy fed on. You know, like when you're dealing with somebody who makes you really tired and you feel like they're sucking the life out of you, you know, you put your hand over your solar plexus and you cover your solar plexus chakra. It's almost like a reminder to shield yourself and not allow people to feed off your energy. And that is what Aries are here to teach. That is the thing that they are gaining. They are gaining the ability to keep their energy for themselves and not allow themselves to be drained by others. And they're teaching others to do these things. That's what we're doing. For somebody here watching, I'm feeling, this to me feels like new beginnings, like planting something and creating something new in your life. Like, you know, there's financial gain from that, but it's like being willing to take the time and spending the time on the details to make these things happen. And that will create the money and see all that happiness, like the house off in the back, and she's happy and she's, you know, tending her prosperity. And it feels like taking time, and I know Aries, that sucks, but spending time and energy on details and working on, you know, being patient and making yourself sit down and do the piddly work and the detail work. Because unfortunately right now it doesn't feel like we have much of a Virgo around to do all the detailed stuff that Aries don't like to do. So there's stuff going on with Aries where we're needing to do the detailed work and work on the detailed stuff. Yeah, see? But with that, with the patience and the perseverance and the grinding through what we consider boring and detailed, creates like the 10 of Cups, which is ultimate happiness and contentment and happy family. See? And there's a tree behind them that's growing, so it's creating all this growth and all this possibility and all this potentiality when we do these things. I keep saying we, and I don't know if I should, and I apologize because I'm an Aries. That's why I keep doing it. Yeah. So, and avoiding getting caught up and focusing on and giving energy to every squabble, fight, or crap going on around. There's a lot of energy that's hard on Aries right now, making you want to bicker, fight, be mad, be pissed off all the time. And I feel like this is about focusing on the simple, focusing on day-to-day simple details, staying in the now, learning to shield and not get your energy fed on, which will create this happiness and an ability to not engage with all this BS going on right here, all this bullshit going on right here, and not keep looking at all the clouds in the distance, but see right now, and he's got his feet in the earth and he needs to ground and stay in the moment is what I'm seeing. Yeah, with that comes power, because to me that's new beginnings, and like he's growing flowers and he's like he's getting through all this. It's like if you stay in the now and you focus on the details, there's power and growth to be gained from this. There's things to be gained from this, and power and growth to be gained from this. Yeah. See, to me, the star is endless possibilities. So, as boring as it is, fellow Aries, doing the details, doing the work, doing the little piddly stuff that everyone that's a fire sign like us hates to do, but it creates all these possibilities. It creates all these good outcomes and gives you, kind of a sky's the limit possibility for yourself. And it's also very, there's a lot of self-care to be gained in being in the moment and being in the now. And that's what a lot of the boring stuff is, that it's the more detail-oriented stuff is you got to be present and do it. And being Aries, you want to avoid all that nitpicky, detailed stuff. But it feels like there's a healing to be gained if you go against what is your nature, which is to flame up and throw everything everywhere and ignore like the self-care that being present and being in the moment gains you. Okay, one more card for us. Yeah, see, there's a balance. Looking for that balance of not being too one way or too the other, just kind of staying in the middle. And, there's a whole swaying back and forth thing that Aries tend to do, where you're just one extreme or the other. And this is about finding that middle. And I feel like there's a judgment that goes on with that. It's like the tendency to not want to deal with the details, but also to judge yourself on not wanting to deal with the details and not want to do the simple and the boring stuff. And this right here is telling me that they're doing these things, there's a balance that's gained that brings, like, she's kind of got a rest, peaceful look and a contentment to be gained with doing all the things and focusing on the satisfaction of getting the nitpicky stuff done. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull a Hindu deity card. I already shuffled these, but I'll shuffle them for a second and then pick a card. Okay. Lord Karma, moving towards success in secret, perseverance through challenges and setbacks. Well, that's perseverance is the word that sticks out to me here. Success in secret. When I see success in secret, I see, you don't tell people, when you want to manifest something, you don't tell other people about it, because they're going to put negative energy or get in your head about it. It's like keeping what you're trying to create in your life to yourself, so that other people's energy don't, smush down and dissolve what it is that you're busting your ass to create. That's what I'm seeing. But also, it's funny, I'm focusing on that card that he's got in the middle of himself, like, center yourself, be there somewhere in the middle, not one extreme or the next, which Aries tend to be, but somewhere in the middle, like, and he's blue, which to me, I feel like means he's trying to be more peaceful and not so volatile. Okay, I'm going to pull an animal card. Or two, never get one, I always get two. Okay, Nightingale spirit, which is love is all around. But I also feel like, he's a singer, he sings, he creates art. So to me, this is, Aries are generally a creative sign finding happiness in the art and the creativity so it doesn't come out in a destructive manner. If you don't express your creativity, it tends to internalize and combust, and you tend to blow up your life. So this is finding happiness and contentment in the creativity and the creative aspects to life. And then the other one is whale spirit. Trust the great mystery. It's funny. I've always had an obsession with whales, but I kept getting on this let go, let God. It's kind of like, get out of your own damn way, Aries. Get out of your own damn way. You know, let things play out. Stop trying to push it here and push it there. You know, stop trying to bulldog your way through life. Aries tend to have this thing about bulldogging their way through life, but I just feel like things are going as they're supposed to go, and tapping into being a shield for people and a block for all this energy and helping other people learn to not let themselves be influenced is part of what Aries are to be doing right now. Anyway, that's all I've got for Aries. Thank you for watching.